Hello everyone and welcome to Wednesday. Today's actually Thursday. I attempted to record this vlog yesterday, twice, but I woke up today, Thursday, and I just realized that there was a whole lot more I needed to say, and I actually needed to write out what I said, so I have a bulleted list here of everything I need to talk about. So please excuse me from, essentially reading from a list, but I got a lot to say, and this is also going to be a pretty long vlog. First things first, YouTube has a new comment system. Some of you are very familiar with it already, but probably not familiar enough. I've made a huge list of pros, cons, things to note, etc. that I'm going to talk about. I ask, please, if you would, that you would watch the full video before you comment below with opinions or questions that you have regarding the new system, because I probably answer it in this video. I have done a lot of research already because a lot of people are pissed off about this. And I actually find there to be more pros than cons to the new comment system. So before you crucify me, continue to watch. I'm going to give you all of the information that I've learned so far so you can learn as well. So first things first, why? Why is there a new YouTube comment system? The main reasons are that YouTube wants to improve the quality of comments, which some of you just scoffed at, like, duh, yeah, right. It's actually true. YouTube wants to increase the quality of comments, and they're going to do it based on a few different factors that I'll explain soon enough. One of the ways they're doing that is by adding more moderation features, which is pretty sweet. It's going to help creators like me be able to better moderate content for you guys, and hopefully do that first thing, which is improve the quality of comments. And then here's the big thing. They are making Google Plus and YouTube one system, which means the exact same way that you talk on Google Plus is now the exact same way you can chat on YouTube. But what is it really about, you say? It's about Google Plus being forced on you. It is officially mandatory. We talked about this in a vlog not so long ago, how I was trying to get the Google Plus pages linked to the YouTube accounts and how it was a nightmare. Still a nightmare. And I said, it's probably not going to be very long before this is absolutely mandatory. And now it is. If you want to comment on YouTube, you need a Google Plus account. Some of you may be wondering, why you can't comment, because there's been a lot fewer comments in the last day because this system just switched over, and that's why. It is required now, and I don't know, we saw it coming. So they're combining it into one system. There are some good things in here. There are some bad things. I guess people don't really like Google Plus being forced on them, understandably. But there's some good things and we need to talk about them. So, first up, pros. Yes, there are pros to this. Although, if I'm honest with you, they've added a lot of cool stuff at the same time they've forced the Google Plus integration, so you would think it was actually okay. Although everyone's looking at the bad and not the good. But anyway, pros. First up, links. We have never been able to post links in comments before. Guess what? Now you can. You can post a link to anything. If you post a link in a comment, it is an actual link. You can click on it. If you want to, if you're talking to someone in a comment and you're like, hey, go to this site, you don't have to, try and spell out the slashes and the dots and hope that YouTube's thing doesn't detect that you're trying to cheat the system, and no one has to copy and paste and change things in their address bar anymore. That's gone. You can actually post links. Thank God. In fact, one of the cool things is if you post a link to a YouTube video, instead of the URL showing up, it'll show you the title of the video. That's cool. That's really neat. I mean, that we've needed that for a long time. Another cool thing that's really, really neat, and I'm really glad that we finally have, formatting. You can do bold, italicized, and strike through. So if you put a word or a series of words in between asterisks, it will bold it. If you put it between underscores, you will have italics. And if you put it between hyphens, you'll have strike through. Holla friggin' Lugia. Finally, a formatting. Now this is, I've listed this under a pro, although for many of you it might be more of a neutral. You can link Google Plus links in comments. So the usefulness of this would be like, let's say you actually use Google Plus, and you're one of the very small percentage of people that do, and you have friends that use Google Plus. If you're watching a YouTube video and you're like, I really want John to see this, my buddy John, you can actually go down to the comment and do an at reply for your friend John on Google Plus, who it'll come up because you're tied to your Google Plus account, and you can say, John, you got to check this out. And then when John gets on Google Plus, or maybe he'll get an email notification or whatever, and he'll actually see your comment, and he'll be able to click it and go to that video. Pretty neat. Now, most of you won't use that because most of you don't care about Google+. I'm in the same boat. I really don't. However, you might get a kick out of the fact that if you are tied to your Google+ account to comment, which you will be from now on, you can actually do an @reply to anyone, which is pretty neat. You can actually do an @reply to people that have commented in the video. So if there's someone down there that you wanted to talk to, you could. Or if there was another YouTube person you wanted to, you could. Like, I could go to anyone's video and do an @reply for Josh Jepson and say, Josh, you should see this, even though, I'm not friends with him. And he should be able to get the notification because Josh is a page. Pretty sure that's how that works. That was a little hard to understand, but I'm pretty sure that you can actually do that. Other pros. There are no more character limits, which, I mean, it's not usually a huge problem because 500 characters is a good amount to work with, but sometimes you just have to say a little more. So now you can. There's no character limits. If you write, a lot, there'll just be a link where you can expand the comment, so it's not, someone has written War and Peace on a comment page. You can still write War and Peace, it just won't show it all unless you click the little link. That's a good thing. You can also edit your comments after they're posted. This could be a bit of a con, but we'll talk about that in a second. But it's a pro. I mean, sometimes you're in a hurry, you type something, and then you reread what you wrote, and you're like, crap, I spelled that word wrong, or I said something stupid. And, sometimes you want to edit it. You won't have to delete it and do it over again. Now, automatic moderation, which is pretty neat. They've basically taken the spam filter that works for Google+, and they've applied it to YouTube. And the reason that's cool is YouTube will now automatically detect spam and mark it as spam, so you don't have to do it. That could be a con if it gets stuff wrong, but I've actually went to a few of my videos and it seems like it's getting most of it right. So basically, if someone goes to a YouTube video and their comment is essentially, balls, fag, poop, then it's probably going to detect that and say, that's probably spam, and it won't even show up in the comments because YouTube's detected that. You can also blacklist words, which is pretty neat. So if you don't want people saying a certain word, as a content creator, you can blacklist a word and people can't say that word anymore. I won't be doing that on the videos just because I'm not a huge fan of censorship, but I mean, there's channels that could actually get some use out of that. Either they want to remove, naughty potty words because they might be a family-friendly channel, or maybe some other reason. And then this is arguably the biggest pro for me, and it's only going to be helpful for larger channels or channels that get a lot of comments like myself. There's a new feature called Communications Manager, and it used to be just for Google+ pages, but now that YouTube has adopted the Google+ system, it also works for YouTube. Basically, you can assign another Google+ profile to become a manager, and that manager will be able to log in as whatever channels you choose and comment as your stuff. Really useful, because what that means is that Mal and I can double team comments. That means now when Mal's reading comments, she can respond as the channel. And I've already been doing this on YouTube. We've been doing, on Facebook. We've been doing this on Facebook for a while. If you've sent the Facebook page a message and you've gotten a response, chances are Mal's the one that responded to you because I can assign her as a manager. Finally, we can do the same thing on YouTube. Now that was a lot to take in, and I know this is going to be a long video and I apologize, but this is a pretty heavy topic we got to talk about. So now I've talked about the pros, let's talk about the cons. The biggest con by far, and what's making so many people so mad, Google+ is required to comment on videos. If you're unable to comment on a video right now, it's because you don't have a Google+ profile or page linked to your account. So you might just be a sitting duck saying, I can't comment, maybe you don't want to make a Google+ profile, so that's obviously the biggest con. Another con, you cannot reply to past comments. So everything before this move, so everything before, the last 24 hours, everything in the last 7 or 8 years of YouTube's history, you cannot reply to. You can't go to any of those comments and reply to it. They are all completely orphaned. Now, some people are pissed about this. I mean, some people are really, really mad. But the thing is, it's not going to matter in a month. It's not. And to some people, yes, okay, I understand it will. There might be a video that you've continually went back to, that you might be having a conversation with someone, and for those people, yes, it will matter. But for users like myself, We continually make vlogs and LPs, and I only even check comments on a video for, you know, a handful of days before we don't go back to that video. I'm not regularly going back to day 305 and responding to comments. You know, I don't do that. So it's not going to matter in a month, because in a month there will be new videos that you will be responding to. So it's a huge deal right now. Big deal, because there weren't even new videos out, so all of a sudden people can't reply to comments and they are freaking out. But in a few days, in a few weeks, in a month, that's not going to be a huge issue. There is an issue, however, that is a problem. You can't reply to certain comments. You might notice that whenever you scroll down the page, a lot of users have a reply button, some don't. And I have no idea why. I've been reading up on it, and there's no reason that that should happen. The only thing that I can think of is that not everyone has been moved to the new system somehow. You know, maybe not everyone's been pushed. So what you're seeing are people that have commented that still haven't linked their, like, Google Plus stuff to their channel, and, you know, the system just hasn't gotten to them yet, so it's still allowing them to comment, but you can't reply because they're not a Google Plus user. That's my guess, because I've read everything I could to find out what that was, why that was, and I can't find anything. There was a few people speculating that that person has changed their settings so that they can't be replied to, which is going to encourage trolls to say whatever they want. I can't find any settings that would allow you to not be able to have your comments replied to. Now, if you guys can, let me know, because I would love to know, but I didn't find anything like that. I think it's just the system is not there yet, so give it some time. You also have to remember that there's no such thing as YouTube accounts anymore. A lot of people are upset because, you know, they say, I want YouTube to be YouTube, I don't want YouTube and Google to mix, blah, 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 but they are one thing. In fact, if you went to make a YouTube account in the last, like, year or so, you wouldn't be making a YouTube account. You'd be making a Google account. So, I mean, YouTube accounts aren't even a thing. They haven't existed for a long time. So, once again, people are upset about this, but it's only because we've been around a long time. We've had YouTube accounts since 2005 or 2006 or whenever, and, you know, it's upsetting because now all this stuff is being forced on us. But if you were a new user signing up today, you'd have to deal with that anyway. The only big problem that I've seen, and I don't know why Google didn't handle this differently, is that people are really upset because they have to adapt to this Google Plus thing. Why didn't they make Google Plus an account that you just got? Like, why is it that they didn't just give you a Google Plus account? Why did they make you sign up for it? It doesn't make any sense. Why, instead of, you know, forcing everyone to now sign up and then link all this stuff, why didn't they just say, hey, you have a Google account, which has been connected to your YouTube account for at least like 2 years now. Why don't they take that and say, hey, we have automatically made you a Google Plus account. It's set to private right now, it'll never be used, but you have one, and you can, you know, link it or whatever if you want. Then people wouldn't be so freaked out about all this. But, of course, Google screwed that up. Anyway, other things. The message inbox has been moved to Google+. That's another big complaint I've been reading, you know, all over the internet. People want to check their comments, you know, who has said what or whatever, and that inbox has been moved to Google+. But there's a big pro in there. There's a little bell icon that is next to your name whenever you're logged into YouTube. That contains all of your notifications. That contains all of the people that have shared your video, that have commented on your video, that have replied to your comments, etc. All that stuff's right there. That's a huge pro to me because you don't have to go into any sort of menus to find anything. No matter where you are on YouTube, that bell is there. So you could be watching a video and someone replies to your comment, and then you get a little, you know, thing pop up in the corner, and you can be like, oh, someone replied to my comment. I don't have to go anywhere. I can just click that. So I see that as a good thing. Now, once again, Mal and I get so many comments that it is impossible to read them all, so we actually don't get notifications on that, so I have all that turned off. I mean, if I was getting notifications for every single comment, then that little bell would explode. But for smaller users, that should be a good thing. I would think that that would be really nice to be able to browse YouTube. You see a little thing up on your bell, you click your bell, and you know exactly what's going on. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go to Google+, which is a really nice thing. So those are my cons. Now, let me talk a little bit about some neutral stuff. If you go to a comment page, you know, you're on a video and you decide to go to the page that just lists all the comments, by default, it shows you top comments instead of the newest first. I put this as a neutral because I don't know if it's as bad as people make it out to be. It really depends on what your viewing style is and if you are a end user or a creator. So by default, it's showing the top comments, and it's pulling in, you know, things that have been voted up. I also think it's pulling in people that are notable. I'm pretty sure it is, but I'm pretty sure that if someone comments that has, you know, a bunch of subscribers, it tends to put their stuff up higher. Once again, I'm not 100% sure. It might just be because people are being thumbed up, but I think it's taking that into account. So for example, if, you know, Josh Jepson were to post something on the vlog because it reads into the fact that he has, you know, over 100,000 subscribers, it's going to say, well, people are going to probably want to see this, so it moves it on up. I think it works like that. Not 100% sure, but the thumbing up works. Basically, whenever you get to a, you know, a YouTube video, it's going to show you the best stuff instead of the newest stuff. If you want to change that, you can. I think that I'm going to be changing it to newest first, just because I would get more use out of that, because I try to read all of the comments. But for an end user who doesn't care to read everything and just wants to see, you know, the most, you know, insightful comment or the funniest comment, top comments by default actually seems like a good thing. So I listed that as a neutral. Another neutral. Posting links and editing comments could be problematic, and the reason is people can post links to anything. They could also edit their comments, so they could say one thing, wait for people to reply, and then they could edit their comment to say something completely different and maybe make the person that replied to them look like an idiot. The reason I put this as a neutral and not a con is because combined with the new moderation that we have, I think it turns it more into a neutral. I really don't think that's going to be as big of a problem as we think. There's a lot of auto moderation going on now with YouTube, which is nice, and also combined with the fact that that Mal can assist me and stuff, I think it's going to work out about the same. So those are the pros, the cons, and the neutrals. So far this has been a lot to take in, but we have a few more things to note before we wrap this vlog up. So, things to note. It is time to get a Google Plus account. It is being forced. Now, here is the most important thing you may see in this video. This might be the one question you had, and I'm so glad that you've been watching for almost 20 minutes so I could actually answer this for you. You do not have to use your real name. You can keep your YouTube channel name. And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people think that they are required to use their real name, and that's what's causing a lot of people to be upset. They say, I don't want this social site integration. I don't want to use my real name on YouTube. You don't have to. Now, the reason they flubbed the bucket here is because whenever they first introduced Google+, when they first introduced when they first introduced Google+, and they first introduced the ability to link your Google+ profile, and they were really forcing it on you, when they first did that, I don't think Google Pages even existed, which was kind of an issue. So you had to use your real name. And that's where people have come up with this. People still think that it's a requirement to use your real name, and it's not. But, here's the but. If you want to use your channel name, you have to create a Google Plus page, which also requires a profile. So, is there a little headache involved? Yes. But if you want to continue to be active on YouTube, you want to continue to be social on YouTube and comment on things, you have to have a Google Plus account. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's the way it is. But the good news is that the headache only happens once. Once you set this up, you don't ever have to mess with Google Plus again. Seriously. So take the time to do it, and it'll be done. So what you need to do, if you haven't already done this, you need to make a Google Plus profile, which will be linked to your Google account, which should already be linked to your YouTube account. Once you've done that, you're going to have to make a Google Plus page. Now, you don't have to just make it on Google Plus. I'm pretty sure that if you go to YouTube, there's an option there whenever you go to link it that it should say, hey, you want to make a page so you can keep your channel name? And then you just be like, well, balls, yeah, you know, you click that, and it should prompt you to make a page. Once you do that, you're done. And then you never have to worry about it ever again. Now, the weird thing about it is if you haven't already linked your Google Plus profile to your YouTube account, you're going to have two channels, which is going to be a little confusing. Your email address, which is what you've always used to sign into YouTube, is now going to be a new channel. And then your Google Plus page is what's linked to your old YouTube channel. It's weird. Yes, the whole system that Google did is weird and stupid and very hard to understand and navigate. But that's where we're at. So I hope that explained it. But if you have questions, ask them and I'll try to answer them. The other thing to note is that 4 out of 5 people have already connected their YouTube accounts to their Google Plus accounts. Now that's from Google, so they could easily, I guess, be lying, but that's from Google, so if you are still holding out, you are apparently one of 5. Not that that has any merit to it, but, you know, basically, get on board, because it's not going to change. Now, why are people mad? There's a few reasons people are mad. There is, first off, there's a big sour view from Google Plus previously allowing only your real name. A lot of people have been reluctant to switch over because they think that their real name is required, and it's not. But in the beginning it was. People saw that. That's what's stuck in their head because Google, once again, they handled this all wrong. So people think that they have to use their real name, but they don't. So there's a sour view from that. That's why people are mad. Also, because navigating Google Plus and linking pages is a complete nightmare to understand. And if you were like me and you have multiple YouTube accounts and you have to make multiple Google pages and link multiple ones, God bless your soul, because it's going to be a nightmare. And you have to do all sorts of bullcrap to get it to work right. If you only have one YouTube account, it's not too bad. And if you want to link to a Google Plus profile and you don't mind using your real name, it's a walk in the park. You just have to click a button or two and you're set. But it is, I mean, that's why people are mad. It's because Google Plus, it sucks to navigate, and linking is, you know, an absolute nightmare. And then people are also mad because they're unable to reply to previous comments. You know, stuff that was posted yesterday, you can't respond to. You know, a week ago, you'll never be able to reply to. That could change in the future. I mean, they could certainly patch that or change that. I mean, I don't see a reason why they couldn't, but they probably won't. But once again, we talked about it earlier, if they don't, it doesn't actually matter, because in a month, there's going to be new videos, you're going to be replying, you won't even remember it. Now, things I'd like to see. I would like to see an option to choose between top comments and newest first comments by default. Because by default, everything is top comments. I would love to have the option to change that to newest first. Whether or not they'll actually give us that option, I have no idea, but that's one I'd like to see. Another option, I would like to have the ability to have comments sent to the YouTube inbox. It's not something that I use, but I'm thinking of other users, because a lot of people are upset about, you know, comments being moved to their Google Plus account. Once again, that bell, use that bell. That bell is pretty helpful. But still, there's some functionality that you lose in that bell, and I understand that, so people would like to be able to view it the old way. I understand that they want to push people into Google Plus because they want to force people to use their stuff and then hopefully ultimately, you know, take over the world and Facebook, but it's not happening right now, and they should really allow people to continue to use the old inbox. And then finally, the last thing I'd like to see is easier to understand linking options, because Google Plus is confusing as crap. It is so hard to understand. If they would just try to make things a little easier to understand, if they would work on that just a little bit, especially for people that have multiple YouTube accounts, oh my God, it would be so much better. People would throw less of a fit if they understood what the crap was going on when they tried to do anything. And also, if they didn't use such scary terminology like, we will use your real name now, that freaks people out. I mean, I use my real name, but I mean, I do YouTube videos for a living. Okay, so my final thoughts. My final thoughts on the subject. There's a lot of good here. There really is. There's a lot of good features that are being added, but it's overshadowed because this has been a completely jarring switchover. People weren't ready for this. I had no idea this was going to happen, at least, you know, today or yesterday. And it caught a lot of people off guard, and people are upset. You know, suddenly you can't comment unless you have a Google Plus profile. People weren't prepared for this, and Google did a terrible job of, you know, warning people and telling people how to do things. So that's the problem. But the good news is there is a lot of good stuff in here, in the pros that I mentioned at the beginning. The integration is not a bad thing if people actually used Google Plus, but it's just been poorly executed, and it's been poorly executed multiple times. Every time there's an update, especially the updates that are related to Google Plus, people fly off the handle. But honestly, kind of rightfully so, because Google continues to do a terrible job of explaining anything. Maybe one day they'll learn, or maybe it won't matter because by that time we'll all be switched over to Google Plus. I mean, you guys are going to have Google Plus soon anyway, at least if you want to say anything on this video. Also remember that there are still bugs, and I think this is a big thing. Earlier we were talking about the fact that, like, you can't reply to certain comments and we don't know why. Remember that there are bugs. This has been out for, you know, a day. I've seen people posting on Twitter, like, you know, their comment pages are complete white, you know, there's no comments, or like they can't do this or that, and there's problems. I haven't experienced any of that. I've been pretty active on YouTube for the last 24 hours trying a bunch of stuff out, and I haven't had those problems. So keep in mind, there's going to be bugs, especially this early on. So if you're having weird issues, I'm not having those same issues, and probably in time you won't either. So things are different for sure, but there's also bugs, and you got to remember that. And finally, and this is exactly what I wrote at the end of my little document, get Google+. You don't have to use your real name as a reminder. It takes a few minutes to link your account to a profile or a page, and then you're done. And that's really the sentiment here. Google owns YouTube. If you want to continue to use YouTube, I know it sucks. I know. I completely agree. I wish that we didn't have to do this, but they really want to push their product. If you want to continue to do it, you do have to use the product. The good news in all of this is that once you do it, you are done. Take the time to do it and never worry about it again until they push something else on us in, 2 months. Anyway, I hope that answers some of your questions. If you do still have questions, leave them below and I'll try to get to them if I can reply to your comment. If there's things that you are glad about or things that you're mad about, list them below. And more than anything, what are some things that you'd like to see? I gave you a few things that I would like to see them change or add options for. Come up with some good ideas and leave them below. It'll be interesting to see what you guys think would be some good changes. Obviously, the big change would be like no Google Plus integration, but that's not going to happen. They want to push their product. This is the way they're doing it with a huge platform, YouTube. That's the way it's going to be. Anyway, talk down below. And as always, let's meet back tomorrow, shall we? There was a special, the entire pizza, $9.99, 3 toppings. So we got pepperoni, meatballs, and tomato, which I think was a pretty good idea.
Oh, wow. Yeah, great. Kick me to the curb. Wow, piss. I wonder if it's the colors because of the Super Famicom's controller colors. Oh, that was bull crap. That was bull crap. Poop.